Welcome to another episode of It's Debatable NBA Edition. I'm your host, Justin Jones, here with co-host Jalen Green, co-host Sebastian Pluvios. How y'all doing?
Feeling good, man. Ready to talk basketball.
Yeah,
Jalen?
I'm splendid.
I said I'm splendid. All right. So let's get into the Western Conference. We're going to talk about the Portland Trailblazers. The Blazers have been off to a hot start with a record of 9-4. Damian Lillard is averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists coming off his injury from last season. Anthony Simons has been a standout, averaging 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. The team has looked great thus far. They're top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. I'll start with Jalen. How serious should we be taking the Portland Trailblazers?
I feel like we should take them serious, but not too serious. Granted, I feel it's still early in the season, but before I go into anything, I want to give great credit to Chauncey Billups. I feel like he's been doing a great coaching job, even with Damian Lillard out the lineup, Nurkic out the lineup. He's still been finding ways to win games while also giving young talent like Shaden Sharp and Keon Johnson an opportunity to play. I think like Shaden Sharp gets about like 20 minutes, and they still winning games. So he definitely has his young prospects getting their reps in while also developing Anthony Simons and giving Jeremy Grant that freedom when Damian Lillard and Nurkic is out the lineup. So big shout out to him. I feel like they're doing great. I feel like the only real teams of competition that they play was really like the Suns, the Heat, the Grizzlies, and they have I think they beat the Heat twice, I believe, and they're like 1-1 with the Suns, and they lost against the Grizzlies. So I feel like those are like the only competition that they really face. Or they had like faced the Hornets. They just recently lost to the Mavericks. So like I kind of want to see further along on their schedule when they have to face like teams like the Bucks or like the Celtics. Some teams were like that's kind of headed like with like a plus 500 record and all that. Kind of want to see them how they fare against those teams, but there's no slight to them. I feel like they should be taken seriously. I feel like they defeated expectations. No one really projected them to be this high. I feel like all the roles on the team suits all the players. Jeremy Grant as a third option, Damian Lillard as he is, Anthony Simons as a scorer, Justice Winslow as a defender, Josh Hart as a 3-point shooter defender. I feel like all the roles on the teams fit for each other, and they didn't even get Gary Payton back. So I feel like they still have a lot of work to do, but I feel like they're definitely a team to look out for. I'm not taking them too serious yet, but I got a good eye on them.
Sub?
I wouldn't take them serious just yet, and that's no knock on Portland and the way that they've been playing in the beginning of the season. Just to start off, this team's look really well. Earlier, if you look back on the first episode, I had them being a playing team. Right now, they're first in the conference. When you look at it, you got guys like Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant coming off on terrific starts, both averaging 20 a game right now. I wouldn't take the only reason why I wouldn't take them serious is just because the fact that there are teams out there that are really like better than them and has like more playoff experience. So when you get deeper down the line, I don't know what they can give it to you in playoff situations. But for like the remainder of the season, I expect them to be more competitive as the season goes throughout. You really have a team that has a bunch of players that know their roles and are just doing what is asked of them every night by Chauncey Billups. You've got guys like Josh Hart that's been playing like phenomenal in his role, going out there defending at the highest level as well as rebounding with the best of the bigs, crashing down low. I guess he averages like around 8 a night. Then when you really look at it too, I would say that both Anthony and Jeremy Grant could be contenders for most improved of the year. Both are having like phenomenal seasons, but that's just the only reason I wouldn't have them for most improved. I mean, not most improved right now. For to be serious.
I agree sort of with both y'all points. On a scale of 1 to 10, on how much we should, I guess, put a lot of stock into them. I'll probably say like a 7.5. Nothing too crazy. I feel when it comes to them, what I like from them, and this comes down to the coaching, what you alluded to, is their late game execution. We look at some of their previous wins. They set up that last play for Jeremy Grant. That was very well executed, and they got a win like that, a hard fought win. Same thing happened against the Miami Heat. That's when Josh Hart hit that game. Right,
Indeed.
right. That's when Josh Hart hit that game winner. So I definitely like their late game execution. A name that you said that's low key. I wasn't even thinking about is Keon Johnson. I definitely like what he
Mhm.
does on both ends, especially on that defensive end. He has that athleticism to him. I like when him and Shaden Sharp are on the floor
Exactly.
together. They
Hmm.
definitely get up and down the floor.
Push the
That
tempo.
that kid is probably the steal of the draft. Shaden Sharp.
Hmm.
He kind of could do everything. He's a high flyer, definitely a lob threat, can definitely defend due to that athleticism. I definitely like what he can do. It seems like Anthony Simons has really soaked up everything that Damian Lillard probably, showed him in the offseason, things in practices, the locker room, him being a leader, things of that nature. He's definitely taken the next step. I think I had him as the most improved player.
Hmm.
And I think something that you said when I originally told you was like, well, how much better can he get? I think he's just with his shot selection. I
Yeah.
think that's definitely been something that he's taken to the next level. And then even though Damian Lillard has missed about 3 to 4 games, so far this season, the games he has played, he has looked great. I remember something I said to you when we was even talking about the whole preseason when we was talking before the season started, and I said something that Chauncey Billups said, and was that Damian Lillard definitely has that bounce back in his step, and he's definitely looked great to start. Like I said earlier, averaging about 28 points right now. Just being that guy. Definitely, Dame time is still active. Definitely remember that Lakers game where he definitely took over late and won that game for them. But sort of like what you said, we're gonna have to see them just against tougher competition
Hmm.
as the season wanes. But right now, I feel like that Western Conference just right now is kind of up for grabs per se. Because I feel like all of us had the Warriors and Clippers to sort of be those 1 and 2 seed, and both of those teams
Right.
have both kind of had rocky starts. So
Hmm.
we see Phoenix and Denver right now as the top 2 seeds. Is that gonna last? Who knows? But thus far, I do think that the Trailblazers are just definitely a team you have to keep your eye on. Yeah, but so how do y'all, just real quick before we move on to the next segment, does Chauncey Billups as a coach, because we've seen that last year, he definitely struggled with the team, but Damian Lillard was definitely injured for a great part of the season. So I just want to ask y'all, and I guess I'll ask Seb, just how impressed are you just with Chauncey Billups and what he's been able to do with that team? Because it doesn't have, I guess, quote unquote, too much high top end talent, but it just has a great team. So how do you feel about what you've seen from Chauncey Billups, though?
I would say I'd give him like an early coach of the year candidate, not just locking it in right now. But what he's been able to do with this group of players, having identity, having these young players come in ready to go with, like you said, Shaden Sharp and Keon, those guys as well, and just being able to maintain an identity, even though guys like Yusuf Nurkic is out, you don't have your big right now, bringing in players like Jeremy Grant, and just being able to have 3 guys right now averaging 20 points. You're first in the conference. Even though you lost to Dallas, it still was a competitive nail biter. I was watching that game a little bit also. You really have a team that really flourishes on offense, and you're actually building an identity on defense. Something that we haven't really seen from these past Portland teams, if you really look at it, with CJ McCollum and those other guys as well. So I like the job that he's doing over there. Last year was a little bit of a struggle due to the fact that your star player was hurt. You got guys in and out the lineup, but this year he's really started a solid foundation of what he's trying to build.
All right, so I guess as of right now, I guess we just kind of got to give Dame an apology, because when he signed that massive extension in the summertime, a lot of
Right.
people said that it was a mistake. He doesn't really care about winning. He doesn't care about winning a championship because he's staying in Portland. But the team is number one right now, so we definitely have to give credit to Chauncey Billups and what he has done with that team. But moving on to another team that was projected to be, just at least a top 4 seed in the Western Conference, but right now they are struggling. The defending champs, the Golden State Warriors, are off to a rocky start with a record of 5-8. They are one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. They're about 24th in defensive efficiency. They give up a lot of points to even some bad teams. So I will start with Seb. Who's to blame for the Warriors' slow start?
I would say the front office being due so that the fact that you had a lot of pieces that you could have tried to find a way to bring back. It really hurts on defense when you're missing your guys like Otto Porter, Gary Payton, those guys as well. You have a whole bunch of like young pieces on the bench right now that is not really flourish on defense as well. You see guys like Jonathan Kaminga, who was supposed to be taking that next step, but he has a lot of DMPs. Moses Moody, Dante DiVincenzo, those guys sometimes will look lost on the defensive end as well as the offensive end. So I would just have to put it on the front office for not retaining the most valuable players that you had while making that playoff run from last year.
Jalen, who's to blame for the Warriors' slow start to the season?
I feel like it's a combination of everybody. I feel like Steve Kerr is to blame. I feel the players are to blame. I feel like the young guys are to blame. I did a lot of research like when I was looking up the Warriors. I kind of seen that they don't have a set lineup outside of the starting lineup. I seen that their starting lineup has played all 11 games, but outside of that, they don't really have a set lineup. Like they kind of switch lineups, and like I feel outside of the starting lineup in that Jordan Poole, the Draymond Green, the Steph Curry, Clay, and um I'm missing some. No, those are five people. But outside of those two lineups, they don't have no other lineups. I seen they only like the next lineup they only had like 6 games in like for that set lineup. So it's either they only run those two lineups, and as you can see, like you feel me, Steph playing like 37 minutes, he's getting tired. I also looked they lead the league in personal fouls, so they can't play defense without fouling, and like they're having trouble fouling. And also, you feel me, with all those reps that starting lineup is getting, they're getting tired. And these young guys, um, I don't want to blame them too much, but it is because it is still early into the season. But they definitely need to find an identity for themselves. Again, I keep stressing this. Like I don't feel like nobody on that bench outside of Jordan Poole is a consistent, just 10 point scorer. Like all you need, for a solid bench player, you would just expect just a solid 10 point scorer,
Right.
and you're solid in the rotation. But they don't have a solid person that could get them 10 points in and out. I feel like James Wiseman is struggling a lot. I kind of see also too they don't run a lot of lineups with him, and then the lineups they do run, they don't have that much success with him inside those lineups. So he's kind of struggling a bit. Kaminga has to find his footing. Moses Moody, I'm kind of more confident in Moses Moody out of all of them. All of them, I feel like he kind of when I see him on the court, he kind of meshes well, and he doesn't try to do too much. I feel like he's kind of more comfortable than the rest of the other guys. But I kind of feel like they don't know what kind of lineups to run. It's kind of up to the coach to really figure that out, and also the young guys they don't really not comfortable within the offense, not knowing their footing, not knowing their role, what they're supposed to do in the court. Also, too, I also looked at the stats too. They're third in turnovers, or just behind the Spurs and the Rockets. So they're really turnover in the ball, and it's a lot of mistakes. And you could just tell like the lineups outside of the starting lineups they can't mesh well. So they need to find like a set rotation for themselves without Otto Porter, Gary Payton, you know the Toscano Anderson, all those guys that were there last year. They need to find a rotation that works for them and that caters to everybody's strengths.
All right. So basically, you're saying everyone's to blame.
Yeah,
You're
everyone.
giving out the blame pie.
Yeah.
All right. For a specific person, I kind of feel is unfair to, I guess, put it all on one person right now. But I do kind of want to address Clay Thompson. I feel that he's definitely just struggling a bit to start the season. We did see a couple weeks back when Charles Barkley saying kind of saying that he's not gonna be the same player that we seen pre-injury. And Clay Thompson. And I feel some other people said he's a champion. He's coming off two catastrophic injuries. We got to give him time to get back, but he just has to play better. He's a shooter, and he's an important part of that offense. Him in those back cuts, and making the game easier for a Steph and Andrew Wiggins and people of that nature. So he just has to just find the rhythm, and I think they will be a little bit better. Um, Another thing you alluded to was the young guys on the team when you talk about Wiseman and Moody and Kaminga. They all just have to play better. They definitely knew that they were gonna get bigger roles this season, and they just haven't really lived up to anything. James Wiseman, like I said before, was the number 2 overall pick about 2 years ago. It was now.
Hmm.
And he just hasn't really looked like that. To your point, they don't really, I feel, even run too many plays for him, and I feel like they should. He's not just the average, Kevin Looney or JaVale McGee or Andrew Bogut back in the day, just a defense or a lobster. I feel he has a post game. He has that medium range jump shot. You got to get him a little more activated into the offense. I believe I seen Steve Kerr say that he's gonna have to try to shake up the lineups and do something different. I'll be very interested to see what he does, but I think he said he's not gonna put Klay Thompson on the bench.
Hmm.
Um,
I was just about to ask you a question about that, but I'm gonna finish real quick.
Stephen Curry has been the best player on the team thus far. He's had a lot of big games. He saved them in a lot of games, but also we have to remember that them being the defending champions, a lot of teams are gonna give them their best shot.
Hmm.
So even when I was watching the game Denver versus the Orlando Magic, a winnable game that they could have. It was just people like Jalen Suggs, people of that nature were just all up on them, and they really was not letting up. So the Warriors just have to, find that spark plug, find that, that championship, spark again. And I think they will be able to turn things around. But, people like Klay Thompson and James Wiseman and even Jordan Poole to an extent, they just really have to help out Steph because they're not just going to win a championship, just Steph taking a whole bunch of 3-point shots. And that's going to have to be a collective effort. So let's see what Steve Kerr does with those lineups. And let's just see what they do. But you said that you had a question.
Yeah. So you pointed out to Clay that he should be playing better. Do you think maybe it should be like a different scenery where he should be able to come off the bench and try to get his feet wet? Like, if you're in that position where you have Jordan Poole that's a little bit younger, and I feel like Jordan Poole has played better than Klay Thompson, but you just cannot give you can't give Klay Thompson starting spot up due to the fact of just the history he has with him, just what he brings to the team and all that. But you think now with this 5-8 start, do you think maybe it should be a switch up where you should have Klay Thompson off the bench? Like, let me ask you that.
I'll be first. I don't feel he should move to the bench because I feel like that makes the bench even more weaker. Jordan Poole is kind of the only playmaker off the bench. I don't feel they're comfortable letting anybody handle the ball outside of Jordan Poole off the bench. You could give the ball to Moses Moody, but I feel if you put Klay Thompson on the bench, you kind of demanding him. Granted, you have scoring on the bench, but you're kind of making him the catalyst of the offense in that situation where I don't know how it works out because granted you're gonna have to put Jordan Poole in the starting lineup, so I don't know. I don't see ways how Klay Thompson could get in rhythm with that group of with the young guys Kuminga, Wiseman, and Moody. Um, I just don't. I don't know. I don't. I don't see it, but I definitely understand where you're coming from.
I would give him right now just due to the fact he's been here for so long. He's a champion. He plays, well with Stephen Curry. I wouldn't put him on the bench just yet. But around Christmas time though, if he's still struggling to the
Yeah.
point of how he's struggling now, yes, you have to make a lineup change. Maybe put him in that 6-man role. And let Jordan Poole play in that starting lineup. But here's the thing: like Jordan Poole's not really a good defender, and
There's Klay Thompson been this
and
season.
yeah, but even so, Klay Thompson is just a bigger body, and Jordan Poole is really just an offensive guy. And I feel that's gonna take away a little bit from Stephen Curry. Um, but right now, yeah, I'm just gonna stick with Klay Thompson in the starting lineup if it was up to me, and just give him a little bit more time to try to get acclimated back with everything. But if it continues to go down the same trend, then yes, I would try to put Klay Thompson on the bench.
Yeah, but I
Alright.
do I do feel they should at least try it because at this point you do need
Yeah,
some
because
type
the
of
only
change.
reason why I'm asking is because if you really look at it, they put like Russell Westbrook, a guy that has been known for the league for being a starter as well as that. I'm not comparing neither of the two, but I'm just saying just to try different scenery, just to see what type of spark you could get different.
Hmm.
So when you put Westbrook on the bench and he's thriving, I see a guy like Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson. They're both averaging identical stats, basically, both averaging around like 15 a game or so. I would say that if they was to put a guy like Jordan Poole, who's more like offensive hungry as well, and he doesn't even have to be the second best player because right now, in my opinion, I do believe that Andrew Wiggins has been the second best player on the squad right now, coming in doing a two-way scoring at around like 15, 17, or 18, however much he averaged, as well as defending at the highest level that he could possibly can. I feel like that's still your second best player, but a guy like Jordan Poole that brings in another versatility where Steph Curry doesn't have to be ball dominant or just have to look for Klay Thompson for catch and shoot scenarios. I do feel like that would work a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. I do would give Klay some time, just go off the strength that, feel me, he's been there, and I guess he'll get his feet back or his rhythm back soon. But just if I was Steve Kerr and just the way things are trending right now, I would have to make that adjustment rather sooner than later before it's too late. Because you can't wait to like adjust too late within the season because now you're playing catch up, as the Justice said back a few episodes ago. So it's just something. It's just a thought. Maybe they would try it, but I'm not too sure. But that's the only reason why I asked, because I do feel like that maybe it might be a little time for an adjustment just early on the season to see what you can get.
But then also I would like to ask, if things I guess continue to go the way how it's been going, do you make a trade? Like, do you trade a Draymond Green? Do you trade a Klay Thompson? Do you maybe trade those young players like a Moody, a Kaminga, and a Wiseman to get maybe some more defensive wings or maybe another big man to put out there? Do you eventually make a trade?
Eventually, yeah, but I still feel you still got to toy around with the lineup and like really try to make the best of what you have. If it doesn't work, then you get to the trade. It's still early though. Yeah.
I did hear a possible trade for Klay Thompson and Draymond Green for Anthony Davis. If you're Joe Lacob and those people in the front office, do you like that trade? And what would it take for you to pull the trigger on a trade like that?
Hell no.
I don't like that trade.
Hell
You
no.
don't like that trade?
Nah.
Hell no.
Can I know why you don't like that trade?
Hell no. Here's why. Because we don't even know the condition of AD's health. And you're going to tell me you're going to put two guys that's more durable
Anthony
than
Davis had a great game. That's why. I'm just saying.
He's a great talent when he's on the floor. That's never been his problem. His problem has been staying healthy.
Right.
And right now I have Klay Thompson that's coming off an ACL and Achilles injury. Still, I feel like playing more games than Anthony Davis and Draymond Green that's there. You're giving up two veteran pieces on your team that basically started this whole Splash Brothers, that whole identity, to give up for Anthony Davis? Hell no.
I just feel like
That's too much.
It won't be a suitable trade because specifically you're giving away Draymond Green, and I feel like Draymond Green kind of is the the glue for the team because he kind of makes up for everybody's weaknesses. Like Steph Curry doesn't have to be a point guard because Draymond Green is playmaking. You feel me? Like I feel if Klay if no one's not setting up Klay for his shot, Draymond Green could set up everybody. Like he's kind of the facilitator for everybody. You trade him for Anthony Davis, it comes now you're trying to looking at a different system where it's Curry and Davis as a 1-2 punch, and then you probably that kind of makes it tough for Steve Kerr because he's been running the offense a certain way the whole time. So now he has to change up the whole offense to cater to Anthony Davis and Steph Curry instead of just running like a system.
All right. Hopefully the Warriors could definitely turn things.
Wait, quick question. Quick question. Would you pull off that trade?
Would I do that trade? I mean, if I'm the Lakers, I would definitely do that trade. But if I'm the Warriors right now, no, I don't do that trade. But if it comes to about mid-season and, Klay's still struggling, the team is looking like a playing team, I do, maybe, talk to the Lakers and maybe see about that, because Anthony Davis, when healthy, though, and on the court, is a defensive presence that the Warriors can use, and I would be interested to see Stephen Curry and Anthony Davis in that pick and roll offense. I think it would be something interesting to see, but right now, no, I don't pull the trigger on the trade. But hopefully they turn things around and it doesn't even come to that point. But now we can move on to Jalen's top 5 teams of the week.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting week in the NBA, man. But you know what? We're going to skip it, man. We just going to get straight to it. So at number 5, I got the Utah Jazz. They've been kind of fluctuating on the list, kind of been consistent on the list. This week they kind of had a tough week, losing to Philadelphia and the Wizards. Philadelphia was definitely a close game. I give them credit to that. It was tough between them or the Suns because they kind of had similar paths this week. The Suns hasn't been doing well this week as well. but I kind of gave the bump to the Jazz because I feel like they've been playing a little bit better than the Suns more so, and the deficit of the games is a little bit closer for the Jazz. So I definitely feel like they're more competitive, but still, they still lead in a lot of categories as well. Currently they're sitting at nearly 117 points per game, which is very high. Is definitely top five. They have 45 rebounds a game, 27 assists, which is fifth in the league. Nearly 8 steals and 5 blocks. They're currently sitting at 10 and 5, shooting 46% from the field, 37% from the 3 point line, and 77% from the free throw. Laurie Markkinen has also been consistent killing. Recently he had 32 points against Atlanta, kind of killing. I feel like he's very comfortable in this offense. He really has not too many flaws. I feel like he's still struggling shooting a bit. That's definitely something that has to get addressed. I feel like they could definitely win more games, and it wouldn't be as close if he's shooting the ball as well. And he could average a little bit more. He's only averaging 21 points a game. I feel like he could get up to that 25-point threshold if he just could shoot that ball well. But granted, he also is averaging 8 rebounds, shooting 52% from the field. Jordan Clarkson consistent, 18 points, nothing too out of the norm for him. Excellent scorer as well. Shooting very well too, 42% from the field, nearly 40% from the 3 point line. Colin Sexton, 14 points per game. Feel like they could use a little bit more from Colin Sexton, just a little bit. Um, Kelly Olynyk has been the consistent sniper, shooting 50% from the 3 point line, which is highly efficient. 54% from the field as well. Then you have Mike Conley sitting at 10 points a game, eight assists, doing his job, facilitating, making sure everybody gets a feel for the ball, and then just able to score. And then you have Malik Beasley at a solid 12 points a game. So you definitely have about six double digit scores. So you could tell like the system that they're running kind of caters to everybody. It's not a one man show. Everybody's getting the love. You feel me? Everybody's getting a chance to showcase their skills. So at number 4, I have the Denver Nuggets. Now the Denver Nuggets are 9-4. They're tied for first with the Blazers. Um, when I was looking up everything, they're very playing very, very, very well. Um, I feel no one's really talking about this, but it's crazy to me. Um, they're sitting at 117 points a game, which is first in the league. Have 44 rebounds. They have 29 assists per game, which is second in the league. They have they're 9-4, and they're also first in 3 point percentage at 42% per game, and also they're shooting 50% from the field per game. Like, so they're highly efficient and they're just getting like the correct shots. Granted, you have Jokic doing a great job playmaking. Michael Porter Jr. as well is doing a great job scoring the ball. He just had 31 points against the Bulls. He's like he kind of see him in the flow. He's kind of getting his rhythm back. Came off that injury. You've seen Jamal Murray also getting his rhythm back as well, kind of getting back to that 20 point per game scoring as well. You kind of see it flowing back up again. This it's just highly efficient basketball being played. I can't say nothing more. Like Michael Porter Jr. is nearly shooting 50% from the field, nearly 48% from the 3 point line, and 85% from the free throw line. That's a potential 50-40-90 right there. Then you have Jamal Murray at 16 a game. Granted, but he's been, scoring more as of late. And he's shooting, solid 43% from the field. Solid. And then you have Aaron Gordon. A couple of like people I'm close with or whatever, they definitely love Aaron Gordon because he's been covering their ticket on FanDuel a lot of times. So Aaron Gordon has been coming up big. He definitely had a big game against the Celtics as well. He was definitely a high scoring. So at any night, anybody can get hot. So I feel like this is a dangerous team that no one's really putting the scope on, but definitely something out to look for. Bones Highland, 14 points per game, 50% from the 3 point line. 38% from the field, kind of struggling just a bit. Then you have Bruce Brown at 10 points a game. Then you got KCP at 11 points a game, shooting 54% from the 3 point line. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double digit scorers on one team. That is a very dangerous thing. And they're leading the league in scoring as a whole at 117. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. The Nuggets, definitely keep an eye on them. But at number 3, I had the Portland Trailblazers. They definitely that's another big reason why I had the Blazers over the Nuggets. The Blazers beat the Nuggets. earlier this season. So I definitely have to give them the nod about the Nuggets. As we said before, great basketball being played. Shout out to Chauncey Billups finding ways to win games with Damian Lillard and Nurkic out the lineup. I feel like he definitely deserves some credit. Giving some credit to Jeremy Grant as well. Hold up, giving some credit to Jeremy Grant as well. Um, oh, I just lost my track. Hold on. I got it. Um, let's go.
Get it together, Smack.
But yeah, you have Jeremy Grant, 37 points against the Mavs, 27 against the Pels. I feel like he was a major component in them getting that win against the Pelicans, against Zion and Brandon Ingram kind of defending as well because Brandon Ingram only had about 14 points. So he was definitely playing both sides of the ball. Anthony Simons right there with him. I believe he had 25 against the Pels as well. They had like a 1-2 punch show against the Pels. The Pelicans were definitely playing well. From previous episodes, if you watched them, I believe they were number one before. They're definitely doing their thing. Damian Lillard, as Justin said, 28 points per game, but he's been out the lineup this week. But again, 47% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, 87% from the free throw, 50-40-90 watch. That's a big thing for me. Like Anthony Simons, 22 a game. You feel me? Jeremy Grant, 20 a game. So you got 20-point per game scorers on one team and giving them wins every night. You have Hart at 9 points a game, shooting a solid 40+% from the 3-point line. Shaden Sharp, 9 points a game. Then you have Nurk. Yes, he's in and out the line, but he also is at a solid 13 and 11. They're also fourth in 3-point percentage in the league, not sitting at 9 and 4. I feel like they're definitely a great team to watch. Definitely, like we said, definitely a good team to keep an eye on. Given their upcoming schedule against some difficult teams. Now, at number 2, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, you could say, oh, you feel me? They have the best record in the league, sitting at 10-2. Why are they at 2? This week, they had Giannis out. Granted, these games have been a little bit more difficult for them. Big shout out to Javon Carter having 36 and 12 against the Thunder, pulling out a win for them in overtime. Good, like making the most of his opportunity. But I still feel I feel like like they're winning these games, but it's not as like
Dominant.
as dominant for someone that's the best record in the league. I feel like they're not like they're not like they're not just getting by, but they're definitely winning these games, but in the fashion of a number one team. I'm kind of expecting more. And then this week also they lost against the Hawks and the Spurs, and the Spurs was like a 15-point game that they lost by. So that kind of bumped them a little bit down on my list. So I had them at number 1, but looking at those kind of factors, I had them at number 2. They also still consistent, leading the league in rebounding at 50 rebounds a game. They're second in blocks at 7 a game, 54% from the field, 30% from the 3-point line, 74% from the free throw line. They're definitely getting better shooting the ball. Giannis is definitely fifth in the league in scoring at 31 points per game, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Typical Giannis MVP watch. I think he's leading the MVP ranking so far in the season. You have Drew Holiday at nearly 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Definitely, those are some solid numbers. Nearly 2 steals a game as well. Definitely shooting the ball better at 36% from the 3-point line and 40% from the field as well. You have Lopez at 16 and nearly 3 blocks a game. Bobby Portis at 13 and 11. And then you have Grayson Allen, 11 points, 42% from the field, 42% from the 3-point line. You feel me? Very solid in his role. And then again, shout out to Javon Carter again for the 36 and 12 against the Thunder, pulling out that win. But at number 1, I have the Boston Celtics. Now the Boston Celtics have been having a spectacular week. They're number 1 in the league in scoring at 120, nearly 120 a game, 42 rebounds. Something very shocking and would definitely get your eyes on the paper. They're second in the league in field goal percentage at 48%, third in the league in 3-point percentage, and then third in the league in free throw percentage. So they're very highly efficient. Jason Tatum this week has been on a tear. 43 points, 43 against the Pistons, 34 against the Nuggets, 31 against the Pistons again, and then 39 against the Grizzlies. All wins. Like it's like no, it's kind of evident like they're really in their stride.
VP watch.
Yeah, MVP watch. Like they're
MVP
definitely in their
watch.
stride. Jason Tatum is going off third in the league and scoring at 32% at 30 points per game, shooting 50% from the field, 38% from the 3-point line, 87% from the free throw. He's definitely going off. Jaylen Brown at a solid 25 points per game. While you have Jason Tatum at 32, you have another person at 25, which is very outstanding. And also another person I want to give a shout out to is Marcus Smart. Also this week, 12 assists against the Grizzlies, 11 assists against the Pistons. Like, you feel me? I feel like they're definitely, building on something strong here. Malcolm Brogdon, efficient, 47% from the field. Al Horford, 55% from the field, 47% from the 3-point line. 47% for a center at the 3-point line is crazy. And then you have Marcus Smart, 10 points, and then 7 assists a game. I definitely had to just give him the edge as the number one seed, just off like the dominant performance that they've been having, and everybody's kind of like eating at this point, and that's why I kind of just had them a little bit above the Bucks, sitting at 10-3, just one loss more than the Bucks.
I definitely like the list. I think this has been your best list so far. Definitely proud of the work that you're doing, man. Yeah, I'm not surprised the Celtics at number one though, because like you said, the Bucks did take some, interesting losses this week. Yeah,
Yeah.
Boston number one. I
And
definitely
just
agree.
and just review, you got the Celtics at number 1, Bucks at number 2, Blazers at 3, Nuggets at 4, and then the Jazz at 5.
Right. Okay. I'm not mad at that at all. Seb, any comments on the list?
Nah, this is actually the most accurate list you had. I was waiting to see who he's gonna have at number one. Because if Boston was not at number one, I probably would have just give you a what, like a strong what.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely the most efficient list. Because especially with the Bucks too, missing Drew Holiday and Giannis and Chris Middleton too. And the fact that you still got them at number 2, like even though like they're just basically playing role players right now and still managing to pull out these wins, especially I seen a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder when they went to 2 overtimes without their stars and still managed to pull these wins out.
Yeah.
Guys like Brooke Lopez and Javon Carter stepping up amazing too. So yeah, I definitely feel like they was well deserving of 2.
Yeah. And big shout out to the Thunder too. I'm watching too.
Watch Shea Gilgeous, man.
Oh no, yeah.
Big shout out to the
they,
Thunder.
Yeah, they definitely killed the Knicks the other day. It was just a disgusting defensive performance that I seen, but I don't want to rag on the Knicks right now. Let's get into the I spoke too soon segment. You know what? I'll just start it off. I spoke too soon. The Clippers will not be the number 2 seed, and they will not make the Western Conference Finals. Not based off their roster or even really the coaching or anything like that. I just feel with Kawhi Leonard, just, with just a big question mark around him, when will he come back? I think the problem that sometimes what the Clippers face is that they never have a full season of health together playing as a full team. And I feel when it comes into the playoffs, that comes back to bite them in the ass. So I just feel they're not going to be the number 2 seed. There's just too many questions swirling around Kawhi Leonard. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, so I just feel that they won't make the Western Conference Finals. They won't be a number 2 seed. They might even just be a playing team, sort of like how they were last year. But that's just I spoke too soon.
Team?
They just might be a playing team. Yeah, they're a playing team right now. What are they? The 7th seed, right?
Yeah.
What are they? 7-6.
No, 7-7.
7-7, yeah, like, cause they just cool. Because then when you try to bring back in Kawhi, that's gonna be less minutes for certain people. Some people's gonna lose touches, and then you're gonna have to try to integrate him into the offense. It's just too many question marks. I don't like putting teams that high with too many question marks. That's what I said about the Brooklyn Nets before when I had them at 6, and I remember you kind of looked at me crazy, like you got them at 6, cause there's a question. I have to see it. It's just too many questions. I can't put a team that high, so just from what I'm seeing, I thought when I made that pick, he was gonna be healthy,
Mm-hmm.
playing all the games. He just hasn't
Ready to
been.
go.
So I don't want to put too much stock into that. I don't have them number two, and I do not think they will make the Western Conference Finals. That's my. I spoke too soon. Jalen, you could do yours.
You kind of already stole mine. I had the Clippers winning the NBA Finals.
Oh
I
shit.
spoke a little bit too soon. Um, Similar to the same points you made, I feel like it's not no. Yeah, we just get running when Kawhi's back. You have to,
Yeah.
especially with the way they've been playing. It's not the best. They been getting wins, but I feel like you definitely need Kawhi on the floor, and they've been trying to figure out this rotation a lot. I've seen Terrence Mann hasn't been playing that much. Luke Kennard been getting those minutes. John Wall, granted, he's been doing a good job at the point guard realm, but then Reggie Jackson is like up and down games, and like Marcus Morris, I feel like he does a solid job. Paul George as well, but something just seems a little bit off with me with them. Like when I was watching them against like the Nets, like they was having like a close game, and then like something just seems so off. Like something is not there for me. So it's like it's still early in the season, but from what I'm seeing, I don't really have them as like winning the NBA championship so far. So I spoke way too soon.
Okay, and so
Oh man, I spoke too soon when I said that Stephen Curry was gonna win MVP. Grant,
he's been good though.
yeah, no. I'm not taking nothing away from him. He's been amazing this season so far, around like 32 a game. I just feel like MVP seasons are predicated as well as team success as well. So that's more so with the way that they've been going and going 5-8 and like a little bit struggle. It takes away from the season he's having because if you look at back at it, I was watching him against the Cavs and he went off in the fourth quarter. Like when I'm talking about like you prime Steph Curry, like vintage. Not saying that he faded away or anything, but it looked like a dominant performance by Stephen Curry. But it's looking like he's gonna have to play like that on a consistent basis for them to even get these games and get by. So far in the season. But when I look at guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic as well, and even Jason Tatum, those guys are like flourishing right now. They're top in their conference. They're the main focal points of their team. I would more so lean more on Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum for even an MVP candidate right now, just off the fact of the team success as well and the games that they're playing and just the rate that they're just impacting the game at. So I would have to say I spoke too soon on Stephen Curry for MVP.
Right. Ironically, all of our I spoke too soon are teams that we both had as at least the top two teams in the West, and
Mm-hmm.
now we are sort of retracting in our statements. But moving on, we always end the show with the hash it or pass it, just to kind of speed through a lot of things that has happened throughout the week. So we can start off with Embiid is now shining in Harden's absence. Seb, hash it or pass it.
Hash it. This is kind of what you expected from Joel Embiid. Dating back to last season before Harden even got there. I mean, you seen that he was really on a tear. He was really second in line for MVP. That kind of got taken away like a little bit unnoticed due to the fact that James Harden got there. But I do feel like James Harden's absence is just picking up where he left off. Really being the main dominant presence on the team that we all know he's supposed to be. It's a little bit concerning too, because when you look at it now, what happens when James Harden gets back now? Like, how do you get that? How you meet both of these players in the middle to where they both can dominate the game in their own sense of fashion, or even a fashion that works both for best of them. Because Joel Embiid is best when he has the ball in his hand. If you really look at it, when he dropped 59 last night, you really look at it, he really dominated the whole game. There was nothing that he couldn't do on the floor. 11 boards, 8 assists. He really took the game to everyone that was guarding him. So I feel like it's a little bit concerning just off the strength that when James Harden get back, how are we going to still win these games with both our star players playing at the highest level?
Okay. Jalen, hash it or pass it. Embiid shines in Harden's absence.
I'll pass it. I not expected, but like Harden's out. You have to take over the game. So.
Um, I'll hash it real quick, just kind of agreeing, kind of the point that Sub was alluding to. I feel like now once Harden comes back, you're gonna kind of have to figure out how do we get the best out of them with both of them on the floor, both playing high minutes together. When they were playing together before Harden got injured, it looked a lot of my turn, your turn, when
Mm-hmm.
it's Harden just monopolizing the ball, just dribbling and just using just Embiid really as a pick man and really just a roller.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then sometimes it will be Embiid just calling for the ball in the post, but what happens a lot of time is that teams are just gonna double him, and then it leads to sometimes Harden taking bad shots and Tyrese Maxey taking some tough threes when he's best getting up and down the floor, just really attacking the basket.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's once again it's gonna be interesting once James Harden comes back and we get to see what Doc Rivers tries to do to maximize the most potential out of both of them. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. Moving on, Joe Tsai says Kyrie Irving must really show he's sorry. He's only apologized after being suspended. Jalen, this is your favorite team because you are the
The
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn Nets saga
If anyone,
continues.
hold on a second. We gotta do a shout out ad. If anyone's looking for, on the Brooklyn Nets looking for an attorney, Jalen Green is right here to defend you. He will definitely get you off the hook. Jalen, I will start with you. Hash it or pass it. Kyrie really must show he's sorry. He's only apologized after suspension.
I'll hash it. I feel like this is kind of looking bad on Josiah. I feel now. Granted, everybody was like a little bit hyper about the anti-Semitic thing. Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. But now, once the list of demands of like when Kyrie has like what Kyrie has to do to play came out, everybody's looking at it sideways. Like this is not like that's kind of OD. Like we get it, it was bad, but now everybody's like looking at the Nets sideways. Like you feel me? When other people said racist comments and stuff, they
No, but
didn't.
no, but
Yeah,
can you explain like because you say the list to what he has to do to come back is OD. Like, why is it OD in your opinion? Like, what about it is OD?
because like okay, you have to. Granted, you have to issue your apology on social media. Then you have to donate to a Jewish like a Jewish organization. Then you got to meet with Jewish leaders, and then you got to like I feel like that whole list was kind of like a little bit too much. When I feel like if you compare it to other situations when there's like racist people, they don't have to meet with Black Lives Matter or donate to Black Lives Matter. And granted, he made like the anti, well, he didn't really make it anti-Semitic. He shared like a film that was offensive to Jews, but
But
yeah,
what do you say to people that say they gave him multiple opportunities to apologize and he didn't?
yeah, but
So now, because you say, and I'm only going on what you said that
hmm
Josiah is looking bad. He's looking bad after he gave him multiple chances and now has upped the punishment. Now he looks bad.
a little bit because it seems a little bit harsh. And then even the Players Association is trying to work on a fair punishment because even Jalen Brown spoke on it. They feel like it's kind of like a little bit unfair. Like you and like I said before, any like other people when they made offensive comments to any other culture didn't have to do this list of requirements or anything. They just
But
immediately
in
got
those
fired.
situations, because I even talked about before when we got into this, about when Anthony Edwards kind of went through the same thing when he made the whole gay remarks, but he apologized right after. So
Hmm.
you're saying other people went through different things and just things of that nature, but did those people apologize
Yeah,
more quicker though?
yeah, but
Because the point that's going on, I feel that Josiah did this was because that there was multiple opportunities that they gave him to apologize, and he just couldn't do it because Kyrie Irving, and this is just Kyrie Irving, like he's a grown man. How whatever he
hmm
does in life is what he does. He doesn't like to be held accountable.
but
Kyrie Irving wants to do whatever Kyrie Irving wants to do, no matter what anyone else
yeah,
thinks, and that's fine.
yeah,
But you work a job that the owner is Jewish. Well,
hmm
not I don't say the owner, the commissioner is Jewish, and we have to understand because you understand the world.
yeah,
Jews run a lot of the world.
yeah,
So you gotta understand Josiah being a businessman, you already know there's ties.
yeah,
So you gotta understand you can't just look at it from Kyrie Irving's stance. You gotta look
hmm
at it from Josiah
yeah.
from.
Yeah, I understand that also too. But even in regards to the other people in these situations, they made a blatant statement against a set group of people. Kyrie didn't make a statement saying I hate Jews or anything. Like the reason he even shared the film wasn't even about Jews. So I can understand why didn't want to give the apology because nothing he directly said was directly towards Jews. It was more so like towards his ancestors, the black community, and where they come from and all that. but that was kind of more so the way he was leading to it. I feel like during that period of time, he really didn't understand, like, I'm trying to convey this message, but you guys are looking this way. And he's like, I'm trying to push this. But then, like, you feel me, as reactions was granted, I feel like the Jews thing, he's like, okay, like now it's offensive. But to come out and say it like, oh, he has to show that he's really sorry after you already gave him a list of demands and it's already been 5 games and he's still not playing, like you're still trying to, like, I feel like granted it was hot when it first, like, it was heavy. It kind of forced your hand to make a decision at first, but now it's kind of at this point kind of getting to like what's really going on here type thing. So yeah.
7.
Shit. I would just say that I do feel like Kyrie Irving is just being pinpointed. Like people are trying to make a statement out of him with this incident. If you really look at it now, even before when Kyrie Irving donated like to the Anti-Defamation League as well, I heard that they rejected it, and now he has to donate again into that. He has to meet all these requirements that nobody else has ever had to do before. None of these requirements wasn't meant for nobody else, but due to the fact that it's Kyrie Irving and the voice that he has and like the people that he.
But it's not that I don't want to argue about this, but when y'all say something, it's not because it's Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving did certain things that made it lead to this. So
All right,
I just don't want to say because no, cause I don't want you to try to. Maybe you're not trying to say it like that, but when you say because it's Kyrie Irving, that makes it seem like they're just using him to just because he's outspoken. No, did they not give him ample amount of chances to clean this up?
I feel
before
like he
the
did.
suspension. Yes or no, though?
Yes, but he did. He said, "I am not anti-Semitic.
No, we understand that.
They're looking for I'm sorry." And Kyrie Irving gave the I'm sorry
after he got suspended.
But now you're giving him a whole bunch of requirements.
All right, but
I understand what they're saying. What is that? But Adam Silver met with Kyrie Irving, and they said that they had a productive meeting. So now you're telling me, as a manager of the Brooklyn Nets, the guy that met with
what that really means, though.
A productive meaning they probably got somewhere.
But meaning that people say things just to give to the public. We don't know what happened in that meeting. That's all I'm saying. We just don't know. You can say whatever just to put it out. But we don't know what happened in that meeting. And even the first time when they tried to have a meeting, Kyrie Irving did not go. He sent a team. So I'm just saying to the point, I understand that it may be too far. I'll agree to that point. But you got to lay in the bed that you made. Kyrie Irving made it like this, though. So I can't feel bad for a person, really, that, made it like this when it didn't have to be like this if he simply just apologized. This whole thing would not be like this. But since the fact that he's trying to push the Nets' hand, Joe Tsai right now, I feel, is trying to show that you cannot, like, you got away with the whole COVID thing and all these other things that happened in the past. You're not getting away with this one. This one, you are not.
I do feel like because Kyrie Irving is part of the NBA brand, that's why a guy like, out of character, like Kanye West, say these things. But there's only so much you could do to like make him apologize and do so in that way.
Because
but a guy like Kyrie Irving, it represents the NBA.
Right, exactly. That's the exact point.
But I get that point as well. Yes, I get that point as well. But what I'm saying,
for one profession aren't the same for another profession.
Yes, but what I am saying is they're just trying to make an example out of him, even though he clearly stated that I am not anti-Semitic. Those people do not. All right, but
he made it like that.
Yeah. All right, I get that, but in the interviews that he had, he stated clearly, "I am not anti-Semitic."
He did. Yes, he did.
That he does not mean no harm. In a sense, you're getting an apology, but the people, the public just wants the "I'm like sorry."
Because no, I understand what y'all are saying. Y'all are wrong, but even if you look,
then you're not entitled to freedom of speech. Then, if that's the case, if you're saying you're not anti-Semitic and you're saying I apologize, to those that offended, like filming, like this, that, and the third.
Okay, but why couldn't he just say? I'm sorry, he doesn't want to because he does not.
Because now, all right, but what is he saying is you're taking away from his freedom. Like he's not allowed to think like that. And also, Kyrie Irving does the research as well to say what he says. It's not like he just going blatantly saying what he is. Clearly, he said he had a standpoint to what he wants to say. Yeah. But he cannot he does not want to take back what he says when he posted that. He's pointed towards my black people, my people, not the Jews, not the hatred towards Jews. Kyrie Irving does not have no single hate in his mind. He clearly stated that he treats everybody as one.
I agree.
Yeah. So if you have all these statements that he's stating right there, but the only thing you're missing the I'm sorry, that means you want more. You're trying to make an example out of him.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's truly how it
But
comes
he's in
down.
a situation like this, then even so, just based off prior incidents. So once again, this falls just based on what Kyrie Irving did.
It's a Kyrie Irving situation. This is the only person that will happen to is Kyrie Irving. I do believe that. But
Because
I do
he's
feel
the one that's done all these previous things. Also, it's not like he just got into the NBA. He's a rookie, and they're just making him the storyline. He has a track record of doing just things the franchise does not like. Right? He just has a track record. He does. So that's what I'm saying. This time, Joe's side, even if you feel it's harsh, that's a I can agree, disagree with it, but that's not really the point. It's the point that he wants to show you will not get away with this one.
I guess.
That now, if it's fair or not, then that's a whole nother debate. If it's fair,
I don't believe it's fair
Life's
because
not
once you
fair.
got that, once you get the
that's not fair.
I don't
once you
think-
get the players coming in,
Brittany Grinder's locked up over there. Some people are saying it's fair. Some people are saying they don't care. Life's just not fair. Things
yeah, that's not fair.
It's just not
100%.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's,
Then-
But shout out to him. Hopefully we can see him back on the court because he's a great talent. Just moving on real quick. The Wizards 4-1 over the last 5 games. Sep, how should I pass it?
Pass it.
I'll pass it, but Bradley Beal been out when they was winning all those
Right.
games. That's something to look at.
All right, just shout out to them. Shout out to Kyle Kuzma and Porzingis for playing well while Beal is out. LaMelo Ball made his season debut against the Miami Heat. I believe had 15 points
Mm-hmm.
and okay performance. Jalen, how should I pass it?
Pass it, cause
Pass it. It's
He
still
said
gonna
pass
be
it.
bad.
he's still trash.
Wait, what
Wait,
the
what the
hell?
I said the Hornets.
Oh,
I'm LaMelo
yeah.
Ball, but the
What
Hornets.
the hell?
Yeah.
He just threw a shot at LaMelo Ball and just, sneaky was talking about, yeah, he's trash. What the
Nah,
heck?
nah. The Hornets, though, I could agree.
The
Yeah.
Hornets.
Okay. And then last but not least,
Victor Wembanyama on the way.
Timberwolves 6-8 since the Gobert trade. Seb, how should I pass it?
Hash it. I'd say that this team just is not like, I wouldn't say it's not constructed well. It's just the spacing. I feel like it's the coach's fault, like that they don't have a correct identity on what they want to do. On the offensive end, because on the defensive end, you don't really have too much worries. It's more so on the offensive end. Anthony Edwards is not really getting in his, because you got to really watch for Rudy Gobert, because he's going to have 2 players coming in to help. If you look early on, like I believe a week or 2 ago, where he says he's not getting like the dunking, like how he's dunking, like how he's usually doing.
Well, that's a straight shot at Gobert. Like, you're clogging up the lane.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like they should make it so like where they stagger the minutes, where the like a guy like Anthony Edwards, who's most likely dominating when he's getting inside the paint and like really just free flowing. I feel like they should stagger that within the offense. Some give Gobert a little bit of minutes, where he's not on the floor with Anthony Edwards. I do feel like this the team in general is just like it's not struggling, but it's not where they want to be. 6-8 is not really bad right now. It's concerning because they did all you gave away for Gobert, but I do feel like there's some adjustments that need to be made.
Jalen,
Nah, I'll pass it. I have no comments.
no comment.
Yeah, I kind of already made them.
Right. Okay. I'll just the only point I want to make about that, I just feel just the Gobert trade has just taken away from Karl Anthony Towns. He just can't operate the same. Just with Gobert on the floor with him, he's just taking up that space that Karl Anthony Towns likes. D'Angelo Russell's kind of been checked out a little bit. He didn't even come into the game last time. He didn't. I know you've seen the clip where he didn't check into the game, and it was just a 4-on-5. Anthony Edwards, passing the ball to Karl Anthony Towns out of bounds. It's just, the team is just discombobulated. I don't know if the coach lost the locker room. I'm not sure what's going on. There's pictures of them looking depressed on the bench. Like, it's a lot going on. Hopefully they can fix it, because you made an all-in move when you kind of didn't have to. It's not like Anthony Edwards was 29 years old and Cat was 32 and you had a lot of time. I think they kind of pushed the panic button, and now it's kind of coming back to bite them. But that's gonna be it for this episode. Be on the lookout for it when it comes out. Definitely please like the video, keep subscribing, keep showing love on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all those. Y'all got anything to say?
No.
All right, so that will be it. We'll see you next week. Also, shout out to my Lakers for beating the Nets, but we'll end it like that.
Mm-hmm.